Hi, my name is Junwon Choi. I am a jazz guitarist and educator. What I do is not teaching more theory. I pass down the apprenticeship method I was trained in, a way of learning jazz guitar that starts from music, not information. If you are new here, welcome. If you've been following this series, today's video is important because today I am going to draw a very clear line on the fretboard. Let me say this clearly. What I am about to show you today is not my personal philosophy, and it is not a different approach. This is not my way versus your way. This is about how jazz standards were written. Most jazz guitar education debates happen at the wrong level. People argue about scales versus arpeggios, modes versus chord tones, theory versus ear. But none of that matters if you miss this one fact. Jazz standards already tell you what to play through the melody. The melody is not decoration. The melody is the map. Let's talk about the composers. Jerome Kern, Joseph Kozma, Kern and Porter. These people were not guitarists, they were composers who understood harmony deeply. And when they wrote melodies, they didn't write random notes over chords. They embedded guided tone into the melody. Very specifically, the third of the chord, and how it resolves through the circle of fifth chord progressions. This is not theory talk, this is composition. If a tune moves through 2-5-1 progressions, and almost all standards do, the melody will almost always lean on the third. That is not a coincidence, that is design. So, when a guitarist says, I don't know what to play over the changes, what they are really saying is, I never learned how to read the melody. Now, here is the uncomfortable part. Most guitarists are trained away from melody. We start with scale boxes, finger patterns, positions. So we'll learn the fretboard first and try to add music later. But jazz doesn't work that way. Horns and piano players learn the melody first. They sing it, they internalize it, then they decorate it. Guitarists often do opposite. We decorate first and hope music shows up. That is why so many solos sound busy but empty. This is where the VoiceLid Jazz Guitar framework begins. Not with scales, not with modes. It begins with melody awareness. The question is not what scales fits here. The question is what is the melody already telling me about this harmony. From there, everything else makes sense. And that brings me to the 3-step system I use in every tune. I am not going to go into details here. I will demonstrate those musically, but I want you to clearly understand the logic. The first step is simple but crucial. You identify where the melody targets the third as the harmony moves through the circle of fifth chord progressions. This gives you a framework line, not a lick, not a scale. A framework that already sounds musical because it is based on the song itself. So, we have been playing Fly Me to the Moon on the key of C. The chord progression of first 8 measure of the tune is like this. A minor 7, it goes to D minor 7, it goes to G7, C major 7, F major 7, B minor 7 flat 5, E7, and then A minor 7. The root, if you just don't play the root of the chord, what remains are chord, guide tone. So if we just play the guide tone, what happens? The notes changing one at a time when the chord is changing. This is voice leading. Let's see one more time. Over here was A minor 7. When it goes to D minor 7, if we just don't look at the root and focusing on the inner line movement, there is just one note moving at every chord changes. So let's focus on the notes moving into the next chord. The first chord to the second chord, it goes G to the F. And let's see where the melody is going when these chords move. The melody is start from the third of the chord up octave, right? And then the guide tone moves, right? If we play as in a linear fashion, this is a chord in the linear fashion is a right, but this happen octave higher on the melody. And then the composers decide to fill with scale notes when the longer notes happening. So this is a longer note, so he wants to fill it with the scale notes. And then it happens every single time when chord is changing. when it goes to the G7, the melody octave higher, these two notes are guide tone down here when we play the chord. When this happens, the chords going into the C major 7. So this is the step number 1 that everyone should know before you trying to implement any scale patterns, blocks, boxes. This is what I'm saying, starting from the song itself. Once the third is clear, upper structures are no longer abstract. You don't add upper structures. They appear automatically because you are building above a stable framework. This is where triads, tensions, and color tones come from without guessing. So the upper structure, it sounds really complex, but when you think about the tune, not vertical way but linear way, because the music is the only art form that using the time. So when we trying to learn the music, we stop the music on the paper and we think vertically. But every single time we are with our instrument, the music goes this way with time. So thinking and learning in upper structure, you think it is more vertical way, it is more, you should learn more thing. But in linear way, when time goes to the next chord and next chord, it just repeats itself. It just circulates like a circle of fifth. Let me show you what I mean. So the first chord, A minor 7, if we put the tension 9 on top and just don't play the root, it becomes C major 7. And then the next chord, D minor 7, don't play the root, put the tension 9 up top and the fifths up over there, then it becomes F major 7. And this chord, when it going to the G7, the voice leading is only moving this one particular note. So from F major 7, it goes to here. It could be F major 7 flat 5 on this position, or we can, if we do that, the same thing over here. This is D minor. If we just moving our notes, the guide tone line, one note over here, then it becomes B minor 7 flat 5 over G. So on the G7, at this point we are thinking this as a B minor 7 flat 5. I will show you why later. And after this G7, the chord change repeat itself. It goes to C major 7, which the first upper structure chord that we know. And then next chord on the D minor 7, it was F major 7. And then now where F major 7 is happening, and then the next chord is B minor 7 flat 5. which was already a first structure chord of the G7, and then it goes to E7 to the A minor. So what we need over this circle of fifths chord change tunes, there was 8 measure, but the first 6 measures I divided in 2 chord set of the progression. So you only need 3, 3, and extra 2 measure. So 5 chord changes in the mind of the improviser. But the first 3 measure and the second 3 measure, it will sound different because we already targeted the melody, the crucial notes of the chords. Our concept where we need to see on the fretboard are the same, but the notes we are targeting is different every single time because the melody moves differently, so that we can make that particular chord changes every single time, but in the same structure, same chord sounds. Does that make sense? And finally, the line. We expand the same logic, same structure in different octave. This is where Django line and West line live. Not as licks, but as octave extensions of melody-based logic. This is how players like Wes could move diagonally across the fretboard without thinking positions. So let me demonstrate what they might play on this tune. So the first chord, the upper structure shape it dictates, this is Django line. And then the second chord, it dictates this chord shape and this voicing. It says, oh, you are in the West line position. And the B minor 7 flat 5, which is the other side of the West line. And then next chord is just C major 7, which is the first chord, the Django line. And it repeats. Right? So here is the key point. If this works in Fly Me to the Moon, which we just played, and All the Things You Are, Autumn Leaves, it is not because those tunes are special. It is because they share circle of fifth harmony, melody targeting the third, which means the same logic applies every time. Once you see it in one tune, you cannot unsee it. This changes everything about practice. You stop asking, what scales should I practice today? And you start asking, what is the melody already doing? Your practice becomes smaller, slower, but much more musical. And most importantly, your solo start to sound intentional. If this way of thinking is new to you, don't rush it. Start with the foundation. On my website, I offer essential building blocks, free lessons that explain this framework clearly, step by step, for 2 hours. If you are ready to go deeper and see how this plays out inside real solos by Wes Montgomery, the jazz icon Wes's insight is where this system becomes undeniable. Either way, don't practice more, practice closer to the music. I will see you in the next video and the next episode. I am going to say something that will probably make some people uncomfortable. If your solo doesn't sound melodic, it is not because you lack of theory, it is because you never learned to listen. So until I see you, keep swinging, make music happen, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you.